Hi, this is Kim Childs with the Kim Childs team here at Keller Williams Realty. And today I want to talk a little bit about 10 things that home buyers should avoid doing before closing on a home. And the thing is, you find a home, you're so excited, you get under contract, you're all pre-approved, and you think, hey, I'm good to go. I'm going to go out and start shopping for my new home. Number one, be careful. Don't make any major purchases before you close on your home. And there are two reasons for that. Number one, if you buy with debt, then your debt to income ratio can change. And number two, if you use cash, you might be deleting some cash reserves. And both of these could adversely impact your application to get a loan, and you don't have final approval yet. The second thing that I would throw out there is you don't want to change jobs unless it's absolutely necessary. And the reason for that is that lenders like job continuity. And even if you were changing jobs and you were staying in the same industry, but especially if you were going to change to a different industry, this also could adversely impact your loan application. So I would stay in your job if you can at all. Another thing is you don't want to give your earnest money directly to the seller. So in Oregon, basically, we are an escrow state, and most often your earnest money goes directly from the buyer to the escrow company, and they basically manage the transaction. And so don't be giving the seller earnest money. It should never be in their hands until closing. The fourth thing that I would say is don't let your emotions take over. So try to keep a cool and calm head and understand that if you're buying a resale home, it's probably not going to be in perfect condition. And if you're buying new construction, then the seller, who's usually a developer or a builder, is probably going to want to take care of most of those repair items and corrections before you move in, because they want you to have a great impression of the home. And number five is don't forget to switch utilities. So it's very disconcerting when you get into a home and there's no gas and no water and no electric. And it's a simple thing. Most often these utility companies have websites online that you just got onto, and you can do it all online. And just to let you know, like, your real estate agent can't do that for you because I can't commit you to paying utilities, but you can do it yourself. A sixth thing is you don't want to forget to also line up your homeowner's insurance. Kind of the same thing. When you move in, you want to make sure that that's insured. And if you have a loan, the lender is going to make sure that that's insured. But if you're paying cash, that's something that you need to handle on your own. For obvious reasons, if it burns down on day one, you want to have coverage for that. Also, don't become best friends with the seller. I know a lot of times buyers think, well, I'm just going to go directly to the seller because we're buddies. You have to be a little bit careful about that. And that's because sellers often, have an emotional attachment to their home. You don't know exactly what they're thinking. And a little comment on your part could turn into something bigger on the part of the seller in terms of how they view it. And then they can dig in their heels on certain things and just not be as forthcoming. So I would really highly recommend you go through your agent for any communications. Also, don't panic if the appraisal comes in below the price. That can happen, and there are definitely some strategies in place to work around that. And again, I would say work with your agent and find out what the alternatives and the options are. And usually we can work through that if that did happen. Number 9, I'd say don't go it alone. I know sometimes people go, I can sell my home by myself. I can buy my home by myself. Well, there's a whole career and market for real estate agents, and that's developed over time because we've developed expertise. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know so much more now, 15 years later, than I did on day one. And before day one, when I wasn't a real estate agent, I was just a person like you, and I didn't really know that much about real estate. So I'd highly recommend that you do use a real estate agent. And last but not least, number 10 is don't ignore lender requests. So if the lender says, hey, I need your last 2 months bank statements, I need your last 2 pay stubs, whatever it may be, get them to them right away, because that keeps the loan process going forward. And if you don't do that, everything can kind of come crashing down, and you may miss your closing date, or maybe, you end up not being pre-approved. It's hard to say. If you have any questions about the buying process or things to avoid if you're buying a home, just give me a call at 503-351-5445. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.